call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into a breaking news edition of the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas. Unscheduled, unprompted live streams with the Pod at the Palace. You know what that means nowadays. It means something happened. Occasionally it could be something bad, but in most cases, especially this time of year, it's something good and it's something else on the recruiting front. John Calipari has the Razorbacks on the board again with another piece to the puzzle, potentially the final piece to the puzzle in Angolan big man Paulo Semedo. Jonathan Gavoni puts out the commitment graphic a few minutes ago, and Arkansas is back on the board with another just freakish looking monster type of athlete in here. Holy cow, this is impressive. You can see the setup here. I'm in New York City. We've got our baby showers tomorrow. The wife and I were getting ready to go meet some friends and go to a New York Mets game. So I don't have a whole lot of time, but had to do an emergency setup and get everything going. I don't have anywhere to put my microphone, so I'm holding it. So bear with me here as we talk about this guy. But man, oh man, how about that for some news, right? I mean, this is impressive stuff. A new name out there for the Razorbacks in Paulo. Let's talk about him a little bit. We'll look at a highlight video. We'll get into your chat and get some reaction. And then we just be excited about this basketball team because it's looking more and more stacked by the day, if we're really being honest about it. 7'1", 220 pounds. Yes, you heard me right. 7'1", 220 pounds. This is a guy who, he's been at West Oaks Academy in Florida. He's got a lot of other Division I offers. Some that I saw listed: Arizona State, Miami, Florida State, some other schools that have been on him. I know there was some conflicting stuff out there. At least originally, I think one recruiting service had him listed as a 2025 prospect. Another had him as a 2026 prospect. So it's like, all right, well, what exactly is going on here? Had a source on the coaching staff confirm with me a few minutes ago that he will be a 2025 and he will be joining the Razorbacks for this upcoming season. So good stuff there, right? A top 50 prospect, according to ESPN, and a bit of an unknown commodity with some of the recruiting sites. I don't know that he has a profile even on 24/7, but he's certainly been noticed. He certainly caught the eye. I do have a quote to share with you guys from 24/7 Sports, Travis Branham, who's one of the best in the business when it comes to scouting and these things, who got a first glance watching him play a little while back. And here's what he said: a 7-footer with length, athleticism, and some skill. Semedo popped off quick in this matchup with a drive through the lane before rising up and punching the rim with a one-hand slam in traffic. His mobility and tools were very intriguing, and then couple it with some of the defensive plays he made and the pair of jumpers he hit from three. Hang on a second. You're telling me we've got a 7'1" guy who is obviously blocking shots, dunking people, running around the floor like a deer, and he's also hitting threes. Okay, great. Says he is worth going back for another look. So immediately when you hear that, you think, okay, crazy athleticism, big time talent, 7'1", you love to hear it. But then I'm told he has a 7'7" plus wingspan, which is absolutely ridiculous to go on top of all of the rest of it. And then allegedly he's out there knocking down threes as well. So that is that is impressive stuff. The early indications I get is that Arkansas is expecting him to play for them, right? It's not some project or whatever, but a guy here who they expect to come in and be able to help him. And, this really does help solidify Arkansas's front court. I mean, good grief. Think how much has changed over the course of 24 hours here, folks. I mean, we've gone from, Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan, and Trevin Brazile, who you've had the entire time, and you're wondering, all right, when are they going to add someone? Are they going to add someone? What's it going to look like? And all of a sudden you go out and get, Big Elmer yesterday to give you a depth piece in there. This ain't that. This is built different. Okay. This is somebody who's going to come in, I think be a factor for you out of the gates in Paulo. And all of a sudden your front court goes from a situation where you're looking at it going, do they have enough? Is there enough depth there to, man, they got more guys than they know what to do with. So pretty impressive stuff. Let's get into this highlight clip. Let me pull it up real quick and then we'll roll through it. Let me make a switch here. There we go. I mean, just I'm going to pause it right there. But just looking at him, and actually, you hear 7'1" and 220 pounds, and you're like, okay, Is this guy super, super skinny? Like, what exactly is going on here? And, he's skinny, of course, but he's got some meat on his bones too. And I like to see that. But just seeing him dribbling the basketball down the floor at his size, I can just tell I'm going to love this guy already. And his dunks are going to be absolutely nasty. Let's take a look. Yeah, no big deal. I mean, there's no need for anything fancy there. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Victor Wembanyama, just kind of coasting it down the floor. He could have done a Euro step. He could have done a spin move, whatever. He's just going to dunk on you instead. No big deal. Man, oh man, look at this guy taking flight. I'm sure this is going to be fun. Yeah, lob threat on somebody's head. There's probably going to be a lot of that. You can tell by the way he's moving up and down the floor. This is a guy who's going to fly in transition. He's going to play above the rim on both ends. So he's going to have some of those Sports Center top 10 type of, alley-oop dunks and just rising up out of nowhere, chase down blocks and all that. Just going to be a blast to watch. What else we got here? Another lob. Yeah, this is probably going to be most of it, just going up and dunking it on somebody's head. You love to see it. Playing with Team Scoot there. Good grief. There's one of those blocks. Yeah, I mean, listen, somebody tried to put him in the rim there, and he didn't shy away from it. I like that. You're going to have to challenge folks in the SEC. That's exactly what he did right there. I wouldn't try to dunk on that guy. Of course, I wouldn't try to dunk on anybody, if we're being honest. Yeah, a lot of stuff in transition. I just don't know how this big fella is able to sneak all the way down to the rim without somebody putting a body on him. Down. Yeah, I like that. Rim runner. Maybe Arkansas is going to be able to play fast. I see somebody in chat right now saying if we ever get out rebounded, that definitely shouldn't happen, should it? Hopefully that's not something that we're dealing with at this point with this Razorback team. It just suddenly got very, very large in the front court. 3-ball. Okay. A little off target there with the camera, but yeah, I mean, that there looks like some promise right there in that jumper. Yeah, just going up and blocking the shot there. You're going to have to head fake him, but there's no need for him to ever jump. You know what I mean? To get out of the way. Okay, so there you go. Very, very athletic. Runs the floor like an absolute gazelle, knocking down threes, blocking shots, dunking everything. What more could you possibly want in a basketball player to join this team, to join this roster? You gotta love it. Let's get into the chat and see how everybody's feeling here, and we'll kind of spur the conversation from there. Nep says, "Woo pig suey." I absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, hey, we'll take the daily commitments from here on out now, won't we? I think that brings Arkansas up to 14 players on the roster, so they could theoretically add one more. We'll see if they do that at this point, but I think their rotation might be set. Dayton England says Cal moving in silence. Yeah, he's definitely moving in silence. He was moving in silence with this one. It's so funny how this has all worked out, because Elmer Zafik, who Arkansas picked up yesterday, the Bosnian 7-footer, is a guy who just kind of appeared out of thin air, and then 24 hours later he's committed. But then you're starting to hear a lot of buzzing, going around about some other guys. And, Egor Rizov from Russia has been one that we've been keeping an eye on for a while here. But then all of a sudden there's all these, African names that have been coming out. Masamba Diop. And you're hearing a little bit about him, and, sounds like he might have some eligibility things going on, and might have some trouble with clearance. Okay, whatever. Edgy Demir is another guy, big, monster of a man, who has been playing professionally over in Turkey and actually getting some run with their A squad over there. That was a name. Arkansas's had a lot of competition there. So all of a sudden, all these international names start popping up, and for a while there, after they picked up Pringle and Ewan, we're looking at it, we're going, what is John Calipari doing? Like, is he sleeping through the rest of the offseason? Is he really done? Like, when he says less is more, do we really honestly believe that? I mean, yeah, we really like the top 8 or whatever, but man, after last year, they're really not going to add any depth. We asked a lot of questions about this man and his plans and his methodology. And yeah, he's just, real G's move in silence like lasagna, as they say. And that's exactly what Cal's been doing, just back-to-back days adding to that front court. Man, I'm stoked. And honestly, I can't wait. We're going to the game tonight, but I'll probably stay up all night just watching some film on this kid and learning a little bit more and seeing exactly what he brings to the table. But the early returns I've received are that they're really, really excited about him here. Just absolutely crazy. We got K-Hump in here. He says, Curtis's dreams coming true with this front court depth. Love to see it. And maybe we ain't done yet. We'll see. Had one source tell me that this very well may be the last piece of the puzzle. Obviously, with it all happening right away here, need to make some phone calls and send out some texts and see exactly what's going on there. What does this mean for Igor in particular? Is it something they'd be willing to, wait out and continue to battle the recruitment with Eji Demir? Off the top, it kind of sounds to me like they might be done, but I don't want to say it definitively until we learn a little bit more. But man, oh man, it's crazy. Let's see. Landon Jackson says, I love a roster full of fives because it lights a fire under you to hustle and rebound. Because if you don't, there's someone on the bench that'll gladly take your spot. Last year's team didn't have that. You're absolutely right about that. There was a level of accountability that was kind of missing. Like, you don't want players having to look over their shoulder and worried about, is this guy coming in for me because I made one mistake or whatever. You want them to play with some freedom and some confidence, but at the same time, the bench is the ultimate motivator. And Cal even talked about that. Like, he didn't really have the luxury of benching guys at sometimes when he thought maybe he did. Not going to be a problem in the front court if he feels like that's something that they need to do this year. The depth is going to be bonkers for sure. Bo said Curtis having to do some emergency research before the live. Yeah, it was a combination of doing a little bit more research on this guy, clarifying if he was going to be 2026 or 2025 for sure, and then getting down here and getting set up real quick. And as you can see, I'm holding the microphone in my hand here, so there you have it. Flying Blind, my guy, hope you're doing well, buddy. He says Cal's a demon. How do you sneak 7'1" into Fayetteville? Is everyone in Omaha? Yeah, that's crazy, because I guess there's visit pictures and everything like that going around. And the funny thing is about it, was actually told one of the other African players might have been the one who snuck in on a visit, but maybe they just mistook him, and it was this kid after all. I have no idea how you do that. It's one thing during portal season, right? Like last year when they snuck Nelly Davis in and out and nobody knew that he came on his visit and then he committed. That's a little bit more understandable. He's like my size, 6'4" or whatever. You could do that, but 7'1" walking around like, did they ever let him out of the car? Was it, by the midnight hour and they just snuck him into the Bud Walton Arena and did their whole visit there? Like, how does that even happen? That's crazy. Let's see. Kobe Collins says next Moses Kingsley. I'd be okay with that. Would y'all be okay with that? I mean, it sounds good to me. Graham says we just got African Wimby. It's so over. Yeah, this is wild. Absolutely wild. That dude looks different out there on the floor, doesn't he? Man, oh man, this is crazy. Let's see what else we got here. This is funny from Brandon Johnson. He says, got to catch them all, Cal, probably. Yeah, is this Pokemon? What are we doing here? All the 7-footers, bring them here. It's insane. Yeah, Big KG says Igor will probably be still stuck in limbo with visa issues. Not sure why this isn't being reported enough. Well, I think it's been reported pretty widely, actually. I know yesterday on the Pod of the Palace, that was something we talked about, was that from the sounds of it, working through the visa stuff has been, kind of the snag with him. And listen, we're not going to get political on here, but given everything that's going on at the moment, over in that region and all the things that factor into that, it could be something that lasts for a while. So, yeah, I do think Big KG that is a problem. It is a snag, has been a snag. And hey, Arkansas is not waiting around, and they went out and got an absolute dude who's got, NBA upside here. So you got to love it. Hey, Nolmer says Paulo Wilkerson has a nice ring to it. Yeah, I got to talk to Michelle. We'll see if we can throw that up there on the list. We've narrowed it down to like 5 or 6, but I think, for the right type of name, we can throw one up there and we'll be okay. Let's see. Steven says, bro, I'm a foot shorter and I weigh 215. I'm almost a foot shorter and I weigh 220. So I get it, man. Oh, BKG says if our guards box out, we could be the best rebounding team in the country. Yeah. I mean, they should be anyway with all these guys here. I mean, if you're looking at it now, you've got, Paulo's 7'1", Trevin at 6'10 plus, Pringle at 6'10, Malik Ewan at 6'11, Elmer at 7 foot. And it's not like your other guards can't rebound. I mean, Billy and Carter at 6'6", Isaiah at 6'7. You got a lot of length. DJ is a good rebounding guard at 6'4" and strong. This should not be an issue for Arkansas. They should not be getting out rebounded by teams. You remember what was going on against Tennessee and against Florida and some of these other teams in SEC play last year, they were just getting absolutely dominated on the boards. No excuses for that. And I know they said at the beginning of last year, they wanted to rebound 40% of their misses. Like that was their goal. And they wound up at like 28%, really weren't a very good offensive rebounding team at all. And injuries played into that. But they might be able to scratch and claw their way closer to that 40% mark, which will put them up near the best in the country. It's crazy. Steven says multiple years of eligibility, right? Sounds like he could grow into an SEC player. Hopefully. I think he's going to be an SEC player pretty quickly, but yeah, I mean, he was a class of 2025 guy here. He's coming in as a freshman, as far as I can tell. So beautiful stuff. Porkenstein says we're going to have the all name team. Yeah, we're getting up there, aren't we? We're getting up there. I saw some different nicknames kind of flying around, in the Discord about this guy. We'll get him a good one. I don't know if you can surpass Bosnian Bulldozer, but this is, I bet we can come up with something pretty cool here for sure. What do we got here? Kingsley says we finally got Kenny Payne some clay to work. Yeah, he's going to be doing plenty of molding and mentoring and whispering into the ears of these big men. Thank goodness, man. I've been begging for that. And they call him the big man whisperer and the big man guru for a reason, right? Get him some big men to work with and not the guys who have to play 30 some odd minutes for you every game. And now you think about it and you're going from having your post players practicing against, and no disrespect because these two guys are awesome, but a couple tall graduate assistants to think about what those practices are going to look like. They're going to be absolute wars. Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan, Trevin Brazil. Now you got Paulo. Now you got Elmer. All those guys are going to be able to go up against each other and they're going to be made better for that, which is going to be a good thing. I do not have an issue whatsoever with depth. You guys know that I'm not afraid of the depth chart, and it turns out neither is John Calipari. So you love to see it. Dwayne says I still want Igor. Yeah, I mean I do too. I would love to have him. I think he's a really talented player. Made some of the comps on him, in terms of some of those guys from Florida, you see like a Tommy Houck or, a Cade Phillips at Tennessee. That's the type of impact I feel like he could make right away. This kid, is he going to be able to do that right away? We'll see. I think that they're confident he's going to be able to help them. Probably maybe he's not quite as refined just yet, but it certainly seems like he's one that has a higher ceiling, I guess we could say. Let's see. Taylor Wilson says he can help on the rim protection. Yeah, I'll say, because, Arkansas was a really good shot blocking team last year and Big Z was a big part of that. And he had his downfalls in other places, but they sacrificed a little bit in the shot blocking area by bringing in Ewan, who's a great offensive center, Pringle, who's just very, very physical and a great rebounder. Neither one of them are big shot blockers. And that doesn't mean you're going to be, sweet in the paint or whatever. But this is a situation where you can go up, block shots. You've got 7'7" wingspan, between him and Trevin with their length and athleticism that can compact a lot of things. So you've got great shot blocking now, essentially, kind of at your 4 spot, and then your 5 men are the muscle. I kind of like the combination there, right? Let's see. Yeah, some people in here saying he's not very good. I would have to disagree with that. I would have to disagree with that one. Is he a finished product? No, of course not. Of course not. Let's see. Daytona Beach says, Curtis, will you give us a 2 to 3 deep best guess? Yeah, we'll go point guard. We'll go Acuff and DJ. And then at the 2, DJ and Leak, because I think that DJ is going to kind of split his time there. Sealy could factor into that as well. We know that Billy Richmond can play point guard. On the wing at the 3, I think, Carter and Billy at the 4. I think we're probably looking at TB, and then, hopefully Paulo is a guy that can work his way into that. And then at the 5, I think Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle, and then Elmer, kind of in there. So you got a good amount of depth there on this roster. Sealy is a guy who I think is a wild card. I know he's been impressing, in some of the early workouts and everything. And he was kind of a big point guard in ways, but it's also somebody who can help you on the wing. He can shoot it a little bit. I'm really interested to see, kind of where he could fit in, because I think he's going to be able to push people early for playing time, and what position that comes at. I'm very anxious to see. Butternut Squash says, could he play the 4? He moves very well. I think so. I think so, especially if he's got the ability, even just a little bit, to stretch it. And I want to watch some more of his film. But I do believe so. And he's athletic enough to where he can do that. And honestly, the positions you can play are largely defined on who you can defend. And even if he's not that fast laterally, and he's a pretty athletic kid, when you've got a damn near an 8-foot wingspan, you're going to be able to recover if somebody's driving it on you and impact some things in there. So I do think that he'd be able to do that for sure. David Woodard says, CW, you're the man. Love watching your reports. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Going to get out of here in just a couple minutes though, because we're taking the subway down to Citi Field, and we're going to watch the Mets game. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe we go live from there if something crazy happens, but that'll be very interesting. But I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies for it being a little bit more delayed than usual, but we were literally getting ready to walk out the door and saw the notification. I was like, oh crap, I got to set up and we got to go and we got to talk about this for a few minutes. So there you have it. What do we have here? Yeah, some people asking about Igor. We'll get some more information on that. But I know they're very, very excited about Paulo, and you guys should be very, very excited about him as well. Gage, I apologize. Didn't mention Kareem Rattel. I should have done that. We'll put him as the 3rd string 4 for now. That's what we'll put him. I don't want to leave my man out. Nice kid. And he's been to all the baseball games too, at the regional and the super regional. He's proud to be a Razorback. That's for sure. So let's see. Oh, okay. I'm really glad that I found this right here. Colin Meyer. This is a really good one to finish up on, folks. He says Armand, and it's Armand Jovic, who's just a tremendous evaluator of international talent, says he's a worse Baba Miller that can only play the 3 right now. But Baba Miller is really good. Like when Baba Miller hit the transfer portal, he was one that I immediately said, man, I would love for Arkansas to be able to get this guy. Right. And if he can develop into a Baba Miller and make that kind of impact, that would be absolutely huge. Can only play the 3 right now. That seems kind of interesting to me. That seems interesting to me. Doesn't necessarily look like a 3 to me, but again, I watched the highlight video that you guys have seen and one more, but he really strikes me as a 4 personally. But I trust Armand, so I'm actually going to hit him up after this and see what else he has to say. Let's see. Outside State Lines, this is exactly the guy we needed in Sweet 16 to help against Federico when Tech started to gain momentum. Yeah, at the very least, he could have been able to like tap one of those offensive rebounds out and you could secure one before he grabbed 6 or whatever, which is absolutely ridiculous to see. But that's that. Paddlefish says, love the pot at the Palace this morning. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously baseball is doing its best to take over the headlines as it should. The College World Series gets rolling tomorrow, and if you guys haven't listened to this morning's Pot at the Palace, check it out. It's fun. It's nothing crazy. It's not a bunch of recruiting stuff and everything like that. But we kind of took the College World Series bracket of 8 teams, and we said, you know what? Let's flip it. So let's make it basketball. Let's make it an Elite 8. What would it look like for Arkansas? Spoiler alert, it's harder for basketball than it's going to be for baseball. And hopefully that proves me right, and Arkansas gets this thing done and wins the College World Series. But hey, I'm going to get out of here, go do some family stuff. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for an impromptu, another breaking news live stream. Arkansas with another commitment. Paulo Semedo commits to the Razorbacks, the Angolan 7'1", 225 pounds, 7'7" wingspan forward who has joined the Razorbacks, and we'll do a little bit more digging, a little bit more research, and we'll be back with another Pot of the Palace here in a couple of days. You guys have a good day. Appreciate you. Subscriber, you need to subscribe. We'll catch you next time.